What's up, everyone? Hope everybody's having a good day. Well, today was the day. Today was when we all came together to say goodbye. The NASCAR community gathered at Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte this morning, and folks, I'm telling you, this was something I'll never forget. The service was held at Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte on Friday, January 16th. The event, which took place at 11 a.m., was open to the public. And for those who couldn't make it, it was streamed live on NASCAR.com, NASCAR's Facebook page, the NASCAR channel, and YouTube. I watched every minute of it, and I'm still processing everything that was said. The emotions in that building, the stories that were shared. This wasn't just a memorial service. This was a celebration of lives that touched so many people in so many different ways. Let me tell you, the scene at Bojangles was something else. The NASCAR community came together Friday to recognize and honor the special impacts of the Biffle family. Greg, his wife Christina, and children Emma and Ryder, and good friends Craig Wadsworth and Jack and Dennis Dutton. When you walked up to the Coliseum, in the parking lot outside the Coliseum, fans paused to peer inside 3 race cars Biffle drove during his career. They had his car sitting right there. People stopping, taking pictures, remembering the good times. Inside was even more powerful. The pictures of the 7 who lost their lives were shown on a video board above the makeshift platform in the center of the covered hockey rink. 7 wreaths on the stage. 7 lives we lost way too soon. The speakers who got up there today, each one of them had something special to share. There were 7 wreaths on the stage where Mitchell, Biffle, and former drivers Jeff Burton and Phil Parsons addressed the crowd. And let me tell you, when Jeff Burton got up there and started talking about Greg as a racer and as a person, you could hear a pin drop. He had the rare ability to sit in a race car and be a complete badass, Burton said. He was really fast, and he would do whatever it took to win at any point. But also, when he got out of the car, he found a way to help others, to be there when others needed help, to make sure everybody around him was having a good time and enjoying themselves. That's Greg Biffle right there, a warrior on the track and the best friend you could have off it. But the moment that really got everyone was when Jordan Biffle, Greg's niece, stood up there and talked about her family. This young woman showed more strength than most of us could ever imagine. Biffle's niece, Jordan Biffle, told stories about Ryder's hero being his father, Emma's laughter, and Christina's loving nature. She said the Biffle family lived fully, loved deeply, and gave freely. She painted this picture of who they really were. Ryder had big dreams of being just like his dad, Jordan Biffle said. 5 years old, and all he wanted was to be like his daddy. And Emma was the gentlest soul. She cared deeply about the people around her and wanted them to be happy and safe. 14 years old with her whole life ahead of her. Jordan shared something that really stuck with me. She talked about growing up in this racing family. I'd be outside playing in the yard and I could hear my grandma yell from inside the house, "Dig, Biffle, dig, faster!" Can you imagine that? Grandma screaming at the TV every Sunday, cheering on her boy. That's what NASCAR families are all about. It's not just about the driver. It's about everyone who loves them, who supports them, who lives and dies with every lap. Now, I gotta talk about Garrett Mitchell, because what happened with him up there was something special. Most of you know him as Cletus McFarland from YouTube, but today he wasn't a YouTube star. He was just a friend who lost someone he loved. An emotional Mitchell took to the podium inside the Bojangles Center and asked the crowd a question. Who here is proud of Greg Biffle? The whole place erupted in applause, and then, through tears, this man tried to explain what Greg meant to him. We have all been saying, "Be like Biff," since we lost our hero, said Mitchell, who befriended Biffle later in his life. And then Mitchell broke down what that means. Be like Biff. That means to take opportunities when you see them, whether that's passing someone on the track or getting off your couch and chasing a dream you've only been talking about for the last 5 years, Mitchell said. It means showing up for your friends and family. It means using your heart to make the world a better place. It means being generous whenever you can and helping other humans when they're down. That is what it means to be like Biff. Man, when he said that, you could feel it in the room. Everyone nodding, everyone remembering times when Greg had been there for them. The Hurricane Helene stuff came up over and over. He drew headlines last year for his tireless humanitarian efforts as a helicopter pilot, supplying aid in the devastation left behind by Hurricane Helene. This wasn't just some celebrity showing up for photos. Greg was in his helicopter day after day, finding people, delivering supplies, doing whatever it took. After the storm struck, Biffle used his personal helicopter to search for survivors and deliver necessary supplies to those in need. And here's what Jordan said about that. Hurricane Helene wasn't the beginning of their giving, and it certainly wasn't the end, said Jordan Biffle. That's who this family was. Always giving, always helping, always there when people needed them. Jeff Burton told this story that just shows you who Greg was as a competitor. Greg went out there and finished 18th, one lap down, Burton recalled. Me, with 2 good arms, finished behind him in 19th place. 7 races later, he wins the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. That's the kind of racer Greg was. Never give up, never quit, find a way to win even when everything's against you. He wasn't just a driver, he was an extension of that race car, and he loved that part of him, said teammate Jeff Burton. The crowd at this memorial was incredible. People drove from everywhere to be there. Tanner Roberts and Jasmine Green made the 4-hour trek from Wilmington, North Carolina with their 7-year-old son Bentley after hearing about the memorial. 4 hours just to pay their respects. He was a good race car driver, and I enjoyed him, Roberts said. And he was a good person. That's what kept coming up. Good racer, better person. There was this kid, Dylan Zirkle, who worked for Greg years ago. Dylan Zirkle, 28, worked 1 year for Biffle at Roush Racing as a pit support employee while he was in high school. He said Biffle made a lasting impact on him and felt he needed to attend. He talked about how Greg treated everyone the same. Didn't matter if you were a crew chief or sweeping floors. Greg was always a really good guy, and I enjoyed being around him, Zirkle said. You could always talk to him at any time, and he was just a real person. And this guy still has model trucks at home that Greg signed for him. Still can't believe he's gone. It still doesn't feel real, Zirkle said. I was watching some of his YouTube videos the other night, and it just doesn't seem real at all. Family came from everywhere. Family members were among the well-wishers on hand at the Charlotte Arena, some making the trip from far-flung areas to pay tribute. Jackie McCarter, a first cousin, made the pilgrimage from Lexington, Kentucky, walking past the show cars out front with another relative from even farther away, Trish Mack from Wasilla, Alaska, who had a family photo draped from a lanyard around her neck. Alaska folks. That's how much Greg meant to people. It shows what a great man he was, a leader, a good father, a good cousin, said McCarter, whose mother's maiden name was Biffle. I remember watching him in the dirt tracks, and then he moved to the truck series, and then he moved to the cars. One of the most powerful things said came from Nick Terry with Motor Racing Outreach. The world was a better place because of these 7 people, and our lives are better because of these 7 people, said Nick Terry with Motor Racing Outreach. 7 people who made a difference. 7 people taken way too soon. But their impact remains. Their legacy continues through all of us who knew them, loved them, and were changed by them. Their lives remind us that what matters isn't how long we are here, but how we use the time we are given, and how fiercely we love while we are here, Biffle added. And while this loss is devastating beyond words, their impact remains etched into all of us that were lucky enough to have known them, loved them, and be changed by them. That right there. That's the message. It's not about how long you're here. It's about what you do with the time you have. And Greg Biffle, his family, and those men on that plane, they made every second count. All 7 perished in the December 18th crash of Biffle's private jet at the Statesville, North Carolina Regional Airport, and all 7 were celebrated in a heartwarming video montage that closed the 90-minute ceremony. The snapshot of those lives included glimpses of family outings, fishing trips, and the type of high-adrenaline adventure that Biffle embraced, including victorious moments from his stellar NASCAR career. They showed everything: the wins, the family moments, the fishing trips, the helicopter rescues, a life lived full throttle in every way. Let me tell you about Greg's NASCAR career because this man was the real deal. Biffle, who was 55, was selected by NASCAR as one of its top 75 drivers in history, was a Hall of Fame nominee for the Stock Car Series, and drove for 18 years at the top of the sport. Top 75 all time. Think about that. All the drivers who've ever raced NASCAR, and Greg's in the top 75. 19 Cup Series wins. Following his win in 2000, Biffle won both the 2000 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship and the 2002 NASCAR Busch Series Championship, making him the first driver to win both titles. First driver ever to win both Truck and Xfinity championships. That's history right there. But after the memorial at Bojangles, the tribute wasn't over. Later in the afternoon, they did something special in Mooresville. Burnout for Biff is scheduled for 3 to 5 p.m. on Friday, Jan 16th along Main Street in downtown Mooresville. As part of the public tribute, YouTube star Cletus McFarland, whose real name is Garrett Mitchell, will do a burnout near Biffle's marker along the North Carolina Auto Racing Walk of Fame. And let me tell you, Mitchell didn't hold back. Later in the day, Mitchell used a custom-made 1957 Chevrolet limousine to do a burnout for Biff in Mooresville as a final tribute. The town shut down Main Street as a very larger crowd gathered all around the designated burnout area. Mitchell didn't disappoint with a burnout that shook windows, with the crowd cheering as a large plume of smoke ascended up into the heavens. That smoke rising up into the sky, people said it was like a final goodbye, a final salute to a man who gave everything to racing and even more to helping others. The whole town came out for it, Main Street packed with people all there to honor Greg. It was done in front of Biffle's Walk of Fame spot, which was awarded to him September 2025, right there at his Walk of Fame marker, where his name will be forever. There was also a display of memorabilia at the Charles Mack Citizen Center. In addition to the memorial burnout, people who attend will also be able to see a special collection of Biffle racing memorabilia at the downtown Charles Mack Citizen Center. That collection will also pay tribute to the Biffle family's philanthropic legacy. All his trophies, helmets, photos, everything that told the story of this incredible life. And not just the racing stuff, but all the humanitarian work too. Because that's who Greg was. Not just a racer, a helper, a giver. Someone who used his success to make other people's lives better. The tragedy of December 18th still doesn't feel real. The Cessna C-550 burst into flames when it hit the ground shortly after it departed Statesville Regional Airport. The plane crashed while trying to return and land, authorities said. 10 minutes. That's all it was. 10 minutes from takeoff to the crash. Greg was 55. He was 55. Days away from his 56th birthday. Christina, his wife. Emma, 14 years old. Ryder, just 5. Craig Wadsworth, their friend. Dennis Dutton, the pilot. Jack Dutton, 26 years old. 7 lives, 7 futures. All gone. And in the middle of all this grief, something else happened that just makes you shake your head. Sheriff's deputies are also investigating an alleged break-in and theft last week at Biffle's home in Mooresville that netted $30,000 in cash, some guns, and memorabilia. Someone broke into Greg's house. While his family is planning his memorial, someone's stealing from his home. $30,000 in cash, guns, memorabilia. I mean, what kind of person does that? What kind of evil do you have to have in your heart to rob a dead man's house while his family grieves? But you know what? That's not what today was about. Today was about remembering the good, celebrating the lives, honoring the legacy. And the message that came through loud and clear was, be like Biff. Take your opportunities. Show up for people. Use your heart to make the world better. Be generous. Help people when they're down. That's what Greg did. That's what his family did. That's what we all should do. Jeff Burton said something about respect that really hit home. Someone I appreciate a great deal once told me the greatest respect someone can get is the respect from their peers. Greg had that respect because he earned it. He positively influenced an entire industry. The respect of your peers. In racing, that's everything. And Greg had it. Not given, earned. Through hard work, through treating people right, through being there when it mattered. The other tragedy that's hit NASCAR recently also came up. The crash a week before Christmas left the NASCAR community shaken and was another blow in a long off-season. 10 days later, on the 52nd wedding anniversary of Denny Hamlin's parents, the house the future Hall of Famer built to repay them for their years of sacrifice burned down. His father Dennis was killed, and Mary Lou Hamlin was rushed to a hospital burn unit. Dennis Hamlin's dad died in a house fire on their wedding anniversary. The house Denny built for them. It's been a brutal off-season for the NASCAR family, just tragedy after tragedy. But today showed something important. It showed that this community comes together. When things are at their worst, we're at our best. Hundreds of people in that Coliseum, thousands watching online, all united in grief, but also in celebration. Celebration of lives well lived, of people who made a difference, of a family that showed us what love looks like. Mitchell's words keep echoing. Be like Biff. It's become a rallying cry, a motto, a way of living. Be like Biff, since we lost our hero, he said through tears. Through tears, he said it. This tough guy YouTube star who does crazy stunts, crying his eyes out for his friend. That's real. That's love. That's what Greg meant to people. You know what struck me most about today? It wasn't the sadness, though there was plenty of that. It wasn't even the stories, though they were incredible. It was the gratitude. Person after person getting up there and saying, thank you. Thank you for being my friend.
Thank you for giving me a chance. Thank you for showing me how to be better. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for being you. Greg is survived by his mother, Sally Biffle, his brother, Jeffrey Biffle, Kelly, his niece and her son, Jordan Carpenter, David, and Jack Carpenter, and his niece, Megan Waldron, Clinton, and her daughter, Charlotte. He was guided by his father in pursuit of machinery, fabrication, and racing. Through determination and talent, he joined Roush Racing as a professional driver and went on to win countless races and 2 championships over the span of nearly 20 years. He left a lasting impact on the sport and was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers. From Vancouver, Washington to NASCAR's greatest, from local tracks to Daytona, from a kid with a dream to a champion. That's the American dream right there.
That's what racing's all about. He had a million hobbies and was good at all of them. He loved to fish, tinker and buy equipment, race in the sand dunes, but most of all, he loved to be around people. He supported and cared for every friend he had. He was intelligent and curious with an answer to almost any problem. His life was loud, busy, full, and fast. Greg was a dedicated philanthropist. A million hobbies and good at all of them. That's Greg. Never did anything halfway. Everything full speed. Everything with passion. The families are asking people to honor their memory through donations. Lake Norman Humane Society, in honor of Craig Wadsworth, Greg Biffle, Christina Biffle, and Ryder Biffle. The Red Cross for Greg's humanitarian work. Ways to keep their legacy of giving alive. Because that's what they'd want. Not flowers that die, not monuments that crumble, but help for people and animals who need it. That's so them. As I watched all this today, as I listened to these stories, as I saw these people come together, one thing became crystal clear. This wasn't the end. This was a beginning. The beginning of all of us trying to be like Biff, to live with purpose, to help others, to chase our dreams, to love fiercely, to give generously, to show up when it matters. That's Greg Biffle's legacy. That's what his family stood for. That's what those 7 souls represented. You know what else hit me? The strength of this NASCAR family. We fight on the track. We argue about rules. We debate who's better. But when it matters, when it really matters, we're family. And family shows up. Family supports. Family remembers. Family honors. And today, the NASCAR family did all of that and more. So here's what I'm taking from today. Life's short, too short. You never know when your last goodbye is your last goodbye. So make it count. Every day, every interaction, every opportunity to help, every chance to make someone smile, every moment with the people you love. Make it count. Be like Biff. Rest in peace, Greg Biffle. Rest in peace, Christina, Emma, and Ryder. Rest in peace, Craig, Dennis, and Jack. Your race here is finished, but your victory lap continues in all of us. In every act of kindness, in every moment of generosity, in every person who chooses to help instead of ignore, in every racer who remembers it's not just about winning, but about how you treat people along the way. You're gone, but never forgotten. Champions forever. Heroes always. Thank you all for watching and for being part of this remembrance. Share your memories of Greg below if you have them. Share how his story has impacted you. And remember, tomorrow's not promised.
So live like Biff. Full throttle, full heart, full purpose. We'll see you at the checkered flag. And today, that checkered flag waves not in victory, but in honor, in memory, in love, for 7 people who showed us how to live, how to give, how to be better. That's their gift to us. Let's not waste it.